gets there for a second hour class, trying to find a place to park because they don't have enough parking. And she said a couple times, Nana and Papa, I almost came over to park in your driveway so I could get to school. That's an issue with parking. The other issue is each class has got roughly 400 to 450 students. The sophomores are the ones that start driving. If you take an average, we got about 8 birthdays a week of kids in that sophomore class turning 16. They are getting cars because of sports, convenience, they may be at out rural. So these kids are now driving to school. Even if you take 25% of that 8, that's 2 more cars a week that are trying to find places to park. And that's why Golden Bell is a great place to park, because it's close to school and they can easily get to school and not have a long walk. By and large, the kids that we have dealt with have been polite for us. I know others have said to kids, we're not gonna get a ticket. But it is going to be an ongoing issue. Long as the year goes on, more and more cars will develop on our street.
I was going to ask you, years past, has it been an issue? In years past?
Not in years past. It started this year, and I think because they went to assigned seat, and they went seniors first, juniors, and then ran out of parking spot. And so the sophomores found out quickly, hey, Golden Bell is really close. And there are 2 walk paths from Golden Bell to the high school property. And by and large, they do go on those paths. It doesn't bother us if they cut through our property, we don't care, but some might. But it's going to also continue growing, and the school is growing, we know that. It's getting bigger and bigger every year.
So what time frame would you like?
I like that 8 to 4. And our issue with, on Golden Bell, that other schools don't, other areas don't have, is we can only park on the odd side of the street.
Yeah.
Our mailboxes are on the odd side of the street. That's our problem. So we got limited parking on that side anyhow, and then the mailboxes are there.
Too bad we couldn't do like the Packers and like $10
Right.
for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it
See,
$100.
So I,
Should have a little QR code.
go ahead. I have the motion to,
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Anyone else who'd like to speak on this item? Otherwise, we're going to close the open comments. So there is a motion on the floor by trustee Rodden to close the public comment. Is there a who was the
I'll second
second? Second from,
I don't
did
know.
you second it already, Mr.
He was the first time.
Mr. Schneider already, trustee Schneider already seconded it. So we have a motion to close public comment, and that motion has been seconded. Any other further comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Is-
All right, so the direction to staff on this,
Well, Mr. Andy,
this is the first
is it
reading.
even plausible to switch to even side parking or whatever
We
the?
could, but we'd have to change our ordinance for that too.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay, no problem.
Yep.
So is the village board fine with adding the upon receiving a complaint from a resident or mail carrier sentence?
I am.
Are we, okay? It should be in there. And 8 to 4?
Or maybe 8, here, I'll tell you what, 8:30 to 3:30.
Just make it 8 to 4.
8 to 4.
Do you even have to put a time on it if you're putting complaint?
Yeah, you don't even have to put a time if you're going by a complaint.
But the problem is if someone's parking there like, not overnight, because you can't do that, but after that window, then anyone could call.
Yeah, from an
know.
enforcement standpoint, sorry to interrupt, I think it'd be easier to have a time frame.
Okay.
And the
It
best,
gives it more teeth.
8:30
8
to
to 4.
3:30 just makes a ton of sense.
Okay, start at
I
that.
like even numbers.
What time do you
8
like,
to 4.
trustee Andrews? 8 to 4,
8:30,
trustee
8 to 4.
Eckert?
8 to 4.
8 to 4.
Octenville?
9 to 3.
I think
But,
it's
but I
8.
will go by the will of the board on this one, and we'll just change it in a few months.
Sounds like 8 to 4. Thank you.
Are we going with the feet?
The 5 feet?
The what?
Is it 5 feet?
5 feet.
5 feet.
5 feet's fine.
5 feet,
5
8
Yeah,
feet,
it gives
4
them enough.
inches.
Those mail carriers are pretty nifty with those.
On Golden Bell, is there anywhere where there's a 4-pack of, there is?
I don't know about four. Most of them are three.
Because we, on our side, it's only 2. So would a 5-foot cover those 3
It's 5 foot on either side,
on each side?
Five on either
All right, then you're
10
fine.
foot total, so you're good.
You're good.
and you can't park in front of a driveway either.
All right,
So most of the time,
Good discussion. Fun discussion.
so we have this going forward. We are on to item.
Thank you guys for coming.
So
Thank you
just
very
for
much.
clarification, this is a first reading of the ordinance, so at the next village board meeting, we'll come back with those revisions for a second reading. And at that time, the village board can take action, and it would be in effect once we get that published in the paper. So the following Friday after that.
So by the time that they get off
by
for
Christmas.
so first of the year, pretty much.
And suspecting that this discussion was so incredibly thorough this evening, I can't imagine any,
oh, I'm gonna complain about the train next time.
maybe I spoke too soon. All right, moving on. Thank you all for coming and speaking.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Item 10B, 2023 contingency request. Administrator Kaker, if you would.
Thank you. So the 2023 budget included $30,000 in the contingency fund. To date, this fund has not been used. Over the course of the year, certain projects have been discussed at either a staff or village board level and deferred for future consideration with the contingency fund possibly serving as the funding source. The sum of all projects below is $16,220, and the village board may choose to fund some or none of the projects below to be paid with 2023 contingency funds. So I think the best approach here is we'll take them one at a time, make a decision on each, and we'll start with the signs for historic downtown Suamico. Trustee Romas did bring this up briefly at the all-day budget meeting. I will show the pictures from the August Historical Society Committee meeting that speaks to those signs. This is just an estimated cost of $8,000, but I will let Trustee Romas take it away.
So that is it's not going to exceed 8,000. There's a little bit, I rounded up, that kind of a thing. So this one, the sign would generally look like what's on the image here for the main sign, except for, Suamico's a little smaller, so there won't be as many streets. But then there would be the perimeter pieces that would be the historic areas. And each individual building will have a small sign similar to that too. But what I'm asking for tonight is not approval of the 8,000 necessarily, but just the movement of that 8,000 into the 2024 contingency, right? Is that where I'm putting it?
It's in the contingency.
We would just carry it over to 2024,
Okay.
yes.
But because as I said at the budget meeting, the committee is working on actually getting an actual sign image for the board to review. I wouldn't expect the board to approve an $8,000 expenditure based on a sign from another city. I think you'd want to see the actual sign we're working on, right? So I know a lot of times we say, we'll put this off till later, and then, you know what, it's a wish list, that kind of a thing. But in this scenario, we will present an actual sign for you guys to look at and decide on. We're just looking to have the money there so that it can be accessed probably around May.
Perfect.
$8,000 though? That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so that, he's looking into the actual number. One of the numbers I saw was 6,500. It's a lot to the sign and the graphics and things of that nature. But it would also, when we actually get the sign and get the actual final quote, and that would be a decision for the board that you could make at that.
So we're not approving any dollars right now, we're just approving the potential use of a contingency
Yes.
fund going forward.
Right.
So we're not saying spend $8,000 on it.
So that 8,000 doesn't go into equipment replacement until
It
after we decide next year.
It carries to 2024.
Okay.
in the contingency. So our contingency, what is our contingency scheduled for 2024?
33?
33?
That's a good question. Kay, you have that number, right?
30, so it'd be 38 then.
But after the $3,000. I know.
So our contingency for 2024, if we carry the 8,000, instead of being 30, it would be 38.
Oh, okay.
Would be our contingency, but it won't affect the mill rate because the 8 grand is being carried from this year. I'm okay with that. I'm with trustee Eckert, 8 grand seems excessive, and I think we need some buy-in also from, the downtown,
Yeah, so the downtown's
owners.
been very receptive on the small signs, so each of those small signs adds another value to it. And we've gotten great responses that they'll actually pay for the signs for their own buildings.
Oh, so they're going to pay for their own small signs.
So there's,
So there's some buy-in
like
there.
not,
That's what I want.
they're renters though, right? Are there maybe two main owners?
Yeah,
So how does that
we
work?
talked to the landlord,
Huh?
John Henry, for one.
Yeah.
And then, it's in our notes.
And then Danworth?
Yeah, maybe.
This is not specifically for downtown Suamico. This is
Oh,
for
that's
all
also a
of the
good point.
historic locations that they deem within Suamico that may or may not put a sign up on their own structure in that location, but the main sign will direct people to the historic sites. It may be the lighthouse on Longtail Beach that may direct,
walk.
that may direct you
Priest and a couple nuns that are buried out there.
Hey,
that may direct you to the village or a link on the village website
Yeah, I think
that
it's,
will talk about those items and not actually have anything out there, but anything that is, that's why they put out the newsletter to gather, 'cause the Fish House is one of them, that the west side, what is it, West Lake Schoolhouse, whatever that one was
yeah.
called.
Thank you for adding that, because that's an important point. And, you know, the way I've been sort of talking about this so far today, it sounds like it's only about the downtown area. It's not.
okay.
There's going to be a thing put out in the newsletter, I believe, asking people if they know of historic areas or historic sites. Now, this doesn't mean we're going to force feed people either. So if Joe has a location that is historic, we're not going to say, Joe, you're going to put a sign up here. We're not doing that. It's all voluntary.
Okay.
I read that in your committee minutes, so
Okay.
I'm up on it.
So it sounds like we have
a good
agreement on the signs to move forward with the signs. How about whole brackets for Hometown Heroes program? I love this.
Would you prefer to take it all in one motion, or do you want to have a motion for each item?
Let's see
It's
how
up to the board.
we finish
Okay,
up right
all
now.
right.
We've got one buy-in on one. What's everyone's feelings on the Hometown Heroes?
I 100% support.
Exactly.
I 100% support it as well, but the one thing I remember from our earlier meeting where the brackets weren't listed, or the poles weren't listed for the bracket, did we solve that problem?
Well, we do have ones that will fit. I mean, all of those poles, if you look in the fine details, they really don't allow for much of any type of bracketing system. So there's that minor risk.
What we're doing, we got to be careful about this, because these light poles are designed to carry a certain load. And if we just put these on there and go, oh, it'll be okay, and then the pole comes down, then that's a problem.
Yep, and that is the risk, and as I shared in a previous meeting, I did talk to our insurance company about it, and they said, yeah, it's a risk, but it's minimal, but it is a risk. And
Did
so it's
they-
really a village board decision if you're willing to take that risk.
Did we look at spring? Like, there's brackets that do have a spring that will basically move with the wind?
I didn't find any that really worked with the poles that we have.
I'm good with it.
I love the program, don't get me wrong.
And-
I just don't want to have a situation where we're gonna have poles failing in the village and people getting injured because of it.
Sure. So, wanted to mention a couple of things. One, the price is actually $135 for each banner. So the woman I'm working with, I worked with her at a previous municipality. She runs this, it's called Hometown Heroes. And her and her husband, the value in going through them is, one, you get a discount rate on the banners. There's nobody else I could find that would be that cheap. But they also, however they do it, they're able to verify that each application, the person is the rank that they were and in the correct war. And they'll talk about how, you know, maybe a great-great-great-grandpa who was in whatever war, and they unknowingly put down the wrong rank. And so the Hometown Heroes program, they'll go and they'll vet and make sure that
Oh, cool.
what's listed is accurate in whatever database that they have. And so if you might look at that and go, well, why are we sending it to Lansdale, PA? That's why we're going through this Hometown Heroes program to help facilitate the program.
You can go through the DOD.
And that would go up for 2 years, right?
Yep, so, and that's something that the board could look at some point. I know that in Upper Gwinnett, where I used to work, after a couple of years, they do start to fade a little bit. And so the idea is you want to keep those banners looking fresh, and so it's a 2-year cycle. I don't imagine that we'll ever get to a point where we have more banners than we do have space. But if that becomes an issue, that helps to have a 2-year cycle where like you'd have a rule that you can't sign up for multiple consecutive sessions. I don't think we'll ever get there. But that's another reason why you would have just like a 2-year program and then a new 2-year program. What else?
And how are you going to get this out to the public?
Well,
You know, we have a
I'll put
veteran
it
out in
wherever, yeah, I'll put it out in all the normal communication avenues that we normally have. But I will tell you, I think when I first started it, we might have gotten like 9 banners the first year, but then so many people saw it and thought it was so cool, the next year we had like 45. And I can almost guarantee that if we do this program, you'll start seeing other communities in Brown County picking it up. It was so popular where I came from, I can imagine it will pick up quickly here as well. But the contribution would be from the villages for those brackets. Initially, I'm thinking that 21 brackets should be enough, that's 42 banners. And if we run into an issue where we're just overloaded and there's so many more requests, we'll come back to the board and discuss potentially more contingency funds being used. But I don't imagine the first year or two that we'll need that many.
In our true commitment as a village is not only the brackets, but hanging and,
Yep, so we'll be responsible, Andy's guys will be responsible for putting those up. And we will make sure they're up before Memorial Day and taken down sometime after Veterans Day.
perfect.
Okay, so we are in agreement on the poll brackets for the Hometown Heroes program, it sounds like. Fire Department hand radio batteries.
I'll let Chief speak to that one. Get you involved.
So this
Find a grant
request
for
was,
this?
this request was initially brought as a equipment replacement fund, but since the dollar amount for each individual battery was under the threshold, we decided to put it in the contingency fund. So it is replacing, I think they're about 12 or 13-year-old batteries. The life cycle on those batteries go for about 10 years, so we're kind of over the limit. Like I said, we did initially put it as a equipment replacement fund, but it was brought back here today, so. There would be 33 batteries needed. So we're kind of over the life cycle of batteries. They last about 10 years, and we're on about year 13, so.
I don't mind approving this. I think moving forward, though, I mean, we have to have some sort of maintenance cycle with these batteries that, you know, just like we do with our squad cars, that we're replacing one a year, you know, that we're replacing 10 of these units a year underneath your small equipment. You know,
Agreed.
I think moving forward, I think you should do
Definitely,
that.
yep. I agree.
So these weren't included in the budget, the 2024 budget?
So he initially submitted those for the budget, and then it was my recommendation that we pull it out from the budget and
And do
use
it
this
this
year's
way.
contingency
I
to
see.
not impact the levy for next year.
Right.
Okay. Anyone have any issues with the batteries for the fire department? Okay, so that's 3 out of 4. Moving on to number 4, chairs for Department of Public Works Committee Room, estimated cost $1,320. How many chairs?
Yeah.
6.
Thank you.
So this would replace the chairs in the committee room. As I have before, encourage anyone who has questions about the need for such a cost to go and sit in those chairs. Those must have been brought in from the old Village Hall, Town Hall,
Yes, they were.
Came from me.
and,
You need a new chair up
Grange,
here?
yeah.
'Cause you seem to have issues with this one.
And it's time to update
that the
those
room I
chairs.
used to
We
sit
think the chairs that are proposed are modest. You can certainly spend a lot more money on office
She
chairs,
wants new furniture, okay.
and that's our request.
I don't have any
Let's
issues.
see how this is gonna go.
I think it's fine. You know, sitting in some old chairs, someone, you know, chair fails and they go down and hurt their back, well, it's gonna cost us more than $1,320.
It almost
some
has
milk
up
crates
here
in
when this
there.
chair's gone back on me a couple of times.
cheaper than that.
All right, so are we all good with the chairs then?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the expenses as presented for a total of $16,220, coming out of the 2023
A
contingency
second.
funds.
So motion on the floor from trustee Rodden to approve the purchase of historic downtown Suamico signs, pole brackets for Hometown Heroes, fire department hand radio batteries, and chairs for the Department of Public Works Committee Room for a total of $16,220. And that was seconded by trustee Romas. Any other further questions or discussion from the board? Could we have this as a roll call, please?
Trustee Andrews.
Aye.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
Trustee Rodden.
Aye.
Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Schneider.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Somehow I lost my sheet. Here we go. Item 11, Public Works and Utility Items, Resolution 23033, discontinuing the excess right-of-way of Oakdale Drive.
So on this topic, as I am related to the landowner, I will abstain from conversation and voting.
Thank you, trustee Andrews. Trustee Andrews has abstained from any further conversation, discussion, or voting on this item.
I don't think
All
we
right.
need, I don't think we need, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there isn't much to discuss. We've already discussed this a couple of months ago. I just wanted to note the step that I did miss in the previous process was called a lis pendens. I did not know anything about it. It wasn't called out in the state statute, but apparently it needs to be done. So that was the step that's missing, so we'll go through the same process as we did back in August. We'll introduce it tonight. We'll go through the steps that are required to discontinue that right away. We'll wait 40 days, we'll have a public hearing, and we'll bring it back for a final resolution sometime in January or February. So tonight, we'd just be introducing the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve introducing resolution 23022, or 23033, a resolution discontinuing the excess right-of-way of Oakdale Drive. Wow, that was,
I'll second that.
So we have a motion from trustee Rodden to approve introducing resolution
Yes.
23033, a resolution discontinuing the excess right-of-way of Oakdale Drive, and that was seconded by trustee Romas. Any further comments or discussion from board members? Does this need to be a roll call? No.
Yes,
All those in, what's that?
I'll do a roll call on it.
Thank you.
Trustee Andrews is recused.
resolution.
Trustee Eckert.
Aye.
Trustee Neto.
Aye.
Trustee Rodden.
aye.
Trustee Romas.
Aye.
Trustee Schneider.
Aye.
President Van Rossum.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0-1.
All right. Item number 12, discussion on future agenda items. Anyone have any discussion on future agenda items that they'd like to mention right now? If there are,
Just a quick one. I mean,
you almost didn't get it in, but
I know. And I don't know, maybe it's not even real, it'll come out in when we go through the whole joint committee, but NEW water was a big issue a year or two ago. Does anyone know how that stands? They're gonna do that big remodeling and rework?
Well, trustee Gomez, New Water will be here at the December 18th meeting to give a presentation on their 2024 budget, as well as answer any questions.
I would like NEW water to be here at the December 18th meeting then. That would be my agenda.
okay. Anybody else have a discussion on any future agenda items? If there are none, then I would make a
I'd like to
motion.
make a motion to adjourn.
So
Second.
trustee Romas has made a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting, and that has been seconded by trustee Schneider. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, those of you who stuck through
Yes,
this.
thank you.